You know, guys, I'm cool with defending all of you neckbeards out there because even though I'm clearly a woman and don't exhibit characteristics like social awkwardness, underachievement, or pretentiousness, and I'm sure a lot of you don't either, I've in fact been grouped in with neckbeards too, and it happens a lot, and it's really funny to read when that happens because there are way too many people on social media who group everyone together that's against censorship in anime or video games into a neckbeard category. They just assume only lonely men who like these things care about censorship and our hobbies being ruined from the inside out. And I don't like to call out everyone on social media who attacks men for just being men, or else I'd honestly just be here all day. I'd literally be here the rest of my life if I did that. But sometimes there's just very specific times where I'm baffled with how dumb people are on the internet and the excuses they use to defend themselves. But before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, follow me on social media for updates to topics that I cover just like this one, and if you want to support even further, you can become a Dark Titan via Patreon. All of the links are in the description. So there's been a group of people on Twitter that have been really vocal over the past couple of days about how basically neckbeard Twitter is at it again, you know, actually caring about anime and video games and all of that stuff. Who really cares about that, right? But there's actually someone who localizes games apparently in on this fight against the neckbeards on Twitter, and I really wanted to read to you all what they've said and how they've approached this situation, because basically they said something that was very off color and they got caught for it, and everyone's calling them out and they don't like that. So this user's name is Capsule Bunny. They said men who spend all of their time fighting censorship in anime, manga, and games should really consider spending less time on that and more time on showering. Of course, the usual, you guys are smelly. I mean, all you do is live in your mom's basement. All you care about is anime and video games. Get a life, basically, which we see this time and time again, people attacking men on social media just because they have hobbies like video games and anime. And I wanted to show you all this person's description, their bio. Model cosplayer, I also localize games. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I tried to find out what games they've localized or which companies they've worked for, and I could find nothing. So when they have I localize games in their bio, yet I can't find any proof of that, it's a little bit questionable. And I bring this up because we've seen quite a lot of people who do localization work for games talk about how much they really dislike gamers and the people they're trying to make money from. So I find it pretty ironic. As a consumer, I do really think it's important to know which people care about your business and which ones could give a heck less about you. But this is their initial tweet on November 9th. Let's just take this into consideration. November 9th. Scrolling down, their defense, they made many days later, 13 days later. They said, just to be clear, I'm talking about the censorship of CP. I didn't think that I had to say that, but here we are. Whenever people can't think of a defense for something or have no defense for their dumb tweets like this, they literally say, it's about the children. Think of the children. Duh, of course CP is terrible. No one here that we're going to read is defending CP. And most of the people who saw this initial tweet didn't even think about CP when they're in this argument. But this person clearly has no defense for their words, so they've twisted the intent of their initial tweet many, many days later just to try to find a defense for themselves. Also, people calling anime and manga CP, it's getting old, and we really should look at the bigger picture when it comes to these characters that we see in anime. They're fictional characters in fictional worlds, most of the time doing fictional things. Get over it. So I had actually responded to their initial tweet, which is what has caused this thread to blow up. My tweet has almost 1,000 likes. I said, what about women like me? My hygiene is perfect, yet here I am spending my time worrying about our entertainment being censored and ruined. You apparently localize games, according to bio, so you either are for censorship or you're not passionate about your industry enough to care about its future. And it's so incredibly true because they're talking initially about fighting censorship in anime and manga and games. Those people should get a life. Like, it's not a big deal that things are censored in anime and video games. And of course they're important. Our entertainment industries, anime, manga, video games, they're all being flooded with censorship. So many big companies don't want specific things to be shown or be created, so they're leading to censorship in a lot of it. And I really don't think that if you fight censorship in anime, manga, and games, that you're suddenly a neckbeard, that you suddenly don't care, you know, you're defending things like CP. That is ridiculous to say. And as I showed you, of course people are going to assume that you're saying anime and manga and games are like CP and filled with CP when you're clearing up your stance many days later. I just think that them trying to defend themselves with the "it's for the children, think of the children" argument is ridiculous at this point. And then, of course, after I had retweeted it, and that kind of blew up a little bit, they continued to try to defend themselves, talking about angry neckbeards. They said the angry neckbeard tears on this thread are really delicious today. No, I don't think they're neckbeards. I think that they're just people who care about their hobbies and their interests, like you should be, especially if you're a game localizer, or unless you don't care about the games industry. Either way, they also go on to say, Neckbeard Twitter discovered this week's old tweet. So here's my 4 favorite bad takes from men who have anime profile pictures. Now, this person doesn't respond to me at all. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but the only reason why their thread is getting attention at this point is because I had retweeted it. I mean, my retweet has almost 1,000 likes, never mind the multiple other retweets I had to this thread. They don't talk about the fact that a woman is actually defending, video games and anime and saying fuck censorship. They only care about the angry neckbeards, apparently. Yeah, it's pretty depressing, to be honest. Now, Capsule Bunny goes on to say at some point during her thread, my favorite part is the guy that doesn't know that women also make manga and anime. That's chef's kiss. And I'd like to say that my favorite point here is that this person obviously doesn't know that women also care about manga and anime being censored, because they said only angry neckbeards care about video games and anime and manga being censored. So I wanted to read a couple of the responses here, and someone said, does something they know people wouldn't like. Gets backlash, insults people, gets more backlash, tries to play it off as doing it for the better good, gets even more backlash, stops caring and continues insulting people. Typical SJW, look at what a good person I am, bullshit. I had actually liked that because it's so true. Someone went on to say, I was about to get real angry, but then I saw the second tweet that she ended up adding many days later. I went from 0 to 100, then back to 0, but they follow it up with, might want to rework this tweet because a lot of people like myself read censorship and go straight to political censorship or censoring violent/legal adult sexual content. Though it does seem you've got quite a few yucky people in your replies. Someone else went on to say, considering your profile, you are part of the problem. Now, I'm not saying go and dogpile this person. Don't respond to this person because clearly all she really wants is attention when she's making tweets like this, and then she's only going on to clear up her stance many days later. But people like this need to stop invoking the children card as a defense when they lack any other. It's so gross to see this happening time and time again. And yes, sometimes things are done to protect children, of course, but 13 days afterwards, She tried to invoke it as her defense, proving that it wasn't her original defense, and she needs to stop with this. As a woman who's been vocal about my worries when it comes to, anime and gaming in both of these industries, seeing comments like this is super disheartening. And if I was a man, I'll be honest, I'd be pretty damn offended by these comments. I hate seeing people be called neckbeards in these gaming stereotypes, and seeing it from an alleged game localizer, it makes these insults even worse. But like I said, I couldn't find any proof that they are a real game localizer. But it's not just about them being a game localizer, it's about their ideologies and the group of people they represent, who are the actual outrage mobs that exist online, the SJWs. But that's all that I had to discuss in this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like and share it. And of course, if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.